there's a lot of talk at the state capitol right now about New York's economic recovery. And economists agree that a major part of that recovery will be connecting more people with jobs. In this story, we tell you about a recent program growing in New York that's trying to do just that. It's part of our ongoing series focused on New York's workforce called Work in Progress. Take a look.
Maceo, Gio, I'm gonna have you lift up the piece of rock, or Mario, I'm gonna have you slide the bench over and then screw along the line.
So I started a residential construction company, really small. And as I was growing that, it was like, it was really, really hard to find the help. It's always been a big issue to find good help, but to find help that looked like me was almost impossible.
For Patrick LaFortune, finding people to work at his construction company, especially people of color in the industry, was difficult. Now, MAP Inc., the multi-craft apprenticeship preparation program, is helping to fill the gap in skilled labor and diversify the workforce. The program started in Rochester to provide opportunity to people who have historically been underrepresented in the building and construction trades. Since then, the program has been expanding across the state. Kareem Berry is the executive director of MAP Inc.
I think the reason why it's really needed now, the workforce is basically retiring or just, for lack of a better term, dying off. So there's a huge gap there as far as talent is concerned in the workforce. So they have to do recruiting because people now don't really want to work with their hands. Everyone is more keyboard based.
Cricket Thomas Odell is the statewide pre-apprenticeship coordinator at Workforce Development Institute, a statewide nonprofit that focuses on the growth and retention of good jobs in New York, providing workforce training and education services. She is hoping these programs can make the trades more inclusive.
Our main objective with this whole statewide pre-apprentice program is to make sure that we have representative workforce, when it comes to women and people of color. My focus is on the building and construction trades, but apprenticeships can be held in health, manufacturing, the cannabis industry, which is emerging, all these opportunities that allow people to not only become more aware of what's available when it comes to workforce, but also to be a part of it and to earn while you learn. What better model? In Europe, they have been doing apprenticeship programs, for a long time.
One of the benefits of the pre-apprentice program is it creates direct entry into the building and construction trade unions, leveling the playing field by providing participants with the skills needed to start an apprenticeship.
The concerns are always in terms of, do you have, are you going to involve the people who live here? Or is this going to, again, skirt around us, and not include us? We are breaking down that barrier of it being who you knew, to get into the unions.
Mike Lyons, president of the Greater Capital Region Building Trades, wanted to bring the program to Albany to help supply workers for some major construction projects. One of them is at the Port of Albany, where Beacon Island is being transformed into an offshore wind equipment facility. MAP was brought to the south end of Albany to create a job pipeline for that site. To further cement their place in the project, Lyons negotiated a project labor agreement that allows funds to go back into MAP.
So anybody as a signatory to the project labor agreement, there's a 5-cent per hour contribution that'll go directly to the building trades and then directly to MAP so they can expand, they can get more participants, they can get more resources to be more successful.
In recent years, the trades have struggled with recruitment due to an emphasis from some on earning a college degree. Thomas Odell wants to dismiss the myth that college is the only way to find a good career.
Told that college is the only way you're going to be successful, when that's not true. You can be highly successful, have a family-sustaining, wages, living, and not have to go to college. The pre-apprenticeship program allows you to explore all those different types of careers that are there when it comes to building construction trades and figure out which one you like best.
Jose Marie Montanez is a student in the Albany MAP.
During high school, I wasn't a big fan of going to college because I didn't know what I wanted to major in or have a degree in. I want to be an electrician, so going to the electrical union is my passion right now. After this program is over, I wanted to create my own business, mainly electrical, and bring it out to where I grew up, which is in the Bronx, and provide my resources that I've learned and skills out to the community over there and help rebuild.
And for some, they are interested in changing careers to find work that compensates them better and has flexibility. Elia Jackson is also a student in MAP Albany.
I want to be a mason. My jobs wasn't paying enough, and I didn't really care for the jobs that I was doing anymore, and I wanted to change. So I found out about the pay. I was like, oh yeah, you got me. And then the benefits that come with it is awesome.
Not only are pre-apprentices setting up a future for themselves, they are also giving back to the community. In Project Phoenix, the first phase of MAP, students learn through hands-on experience by renovating a home donated by the local land bank so it can be given back to the community. Homeownership will help spur on the economy of the whole region, says Barry from MAP.
If you empower people economically, that empowers the entire community economically because, again, those residents are going to spend money where they live. So the neighborhood stores are going to benefit. The tax rolls in Albany are going to benefit because now these same people are able to actually go and purchase homes. They now have the skills to repair their homes. We teach accountability to community. So it's not going to be a thing of flight. They're going to see, well, I can now repair my home, stay here, clean up, and just show a different quality of life to everyone else.
And a thanks to producer Catherine Rafferty for that story. That report is part of WMHT's ongoing series looking at job seeking throughout life, called Work in Progress. You can find out more at WMHT.org/Work in Progress. Work in Progress is funded by WDI, the Workforce Development Institute.